As you know, video games are currently one of the most important industries in the digital world, and on the other hand, many users around the world are the targets of this hobby. This has led many people to enter the industry and invest large companies in this field to the point that we are even witnessing the implementation of gaming systems on Tesla's cars. It may have happened to many of you that after experiencing a particular work, you have new ideas to build the game in your mind, and sometimes you have dreamed that one day you will enter your game and use your ideas to make the game. There are many ways to get into game making. For one of these ways, you can follow the steps inside the video. There are different game engines to get started, but each of these game engines has its own positive and negative characteristics. Usually, the first engine offered to beginners is Game Maker, but I personally disagree with this choice, because the possibilities of this game engine are very limited. Even if you like to make a simple game, it's best to go from the base with a more powerful engine to get into the job market faster. I suggest choosing between one of Unity or Unreal Engine engines. The most important reason for proposing these graphical engines is the existence of a lot of training in relation to these two game engines on the internet. In short, you will have a lot of resources to learn. On the other hand, these two game engines have asset stores, objects and ready-made codes that can improve your learning process, and hence your hand will be very open to making the game in these two engines. Which of these two game engines to choose depends partly on your taste and purpose of game making. For example, the Unreal Engine offers better graphics, while Unity has more tools to build 2D games. Unity, on the other hand, has had more experience in AR and VR, but to build AAA games, the facilities available for use in the Unreal Engine are more complete. In the meantime, the most important point is that you should not limit yourself to a game engine in any way, as it is not clear what game engine you will encounter in the future to collaborate with different studios. In other words, you have to dominate different game engines. Now that you have chosen the engine you want, you have officially entered the world of gaming. My suggestion at this point is to learn the basic principles of all parts of making a game. As you know, each studio consists of different sections and groups, each taking over the task of one part of the construction process. For example, the writing team in the writing section of dialogues and game stories, LOL design and stage design, and programmers also work in designing different sections such as character controllers, etc. Each of these groups will also be divided into smaller sections that will take on more specialized tasks. Since all of these parts are connected and the staff of each department have to work together as a team to advance the construction of a game, it is better to have a general look at each of these sections. My view is to learn the basics of your Eng programming, C++ language for Unreal Engine and C# for Unity. Because in the process of building any of the sections, you may need programming, and after learning these languages, you will be able to communicate with the staff of this section more easily. After learning the basics of programming, you can go to the early sections of the level design, build environments, use music in the game and graphics, and then enter the next step after you are somewhat familiar with each of these sections. Now that you've come up here and learned the general principles of building a game, you can get into building small, independent projects. The goal of this step is to implement your ideas in the form of simple games to enhance your abilities. To get started, you can find suggested projects to build a game by searching the internet. Games like Chicken Invaders or Counter-Strike are good patterns, and you'll be able to create a game of a similar nature with inspiration. Try to add to your game features over time. If you want to spend more time on game programming, but you don't have the ability to make objects and music, or if you want to use software like 3D Max and Maya to build objects and don't go to programming, you can get help with the objects or ready-made code available in Engine. One of the useful features that the Unity engine offers is Asset Store, which you will be able to access a large number of free and paid items and objects through this resource and use them in making your game. On the other hand, Unreal Engine Blueprint is also a tool that will make you largely needless of programming in this engine. An important feature of this stage is the questions and drawbacks that will plague you when you build the game. When this happens, the internet will be your best friend and helper, and be sure that most of the time, the answers to all your questions will be found on the internet with a simple look. Building different projects as well as constantly searching for game bugs will always enhance your abilities and will help you gain different experiences in the industry, and you will gradually be ready to enter the fourth stage. Congratulations! If you've reached this stage, that means you're an independent mid-level game maker and you have the ability to create small works. Now it's you who have to choose whether you're going to build and develop games independently, or you're going to enter AAA projects. If you want to enter the job market as an independent game maker, it should be said that you already have the ability to do so, and you have to continue building small projects and never neglect to learn and search the internet. Be sure that you will progress over time. But if you want to enter larger studios, you need to know that projects and games that are made in AAA form are so complicated that they can't be finished with small teams, and so you have to choose and work in one of the game-making sections. The task of the designer is to design the stages of the game, and if you like to work in this section, you need to build and design the items in the stages, paths and process of the game stages. You and this team have to put yourself in the gamer's place and predict what might happen at each stage and explore and apply different ways to create restrictions or freedom in the game. The artist is tasked with working on the visual effects of the game. Ori Games, for example, owe their visual beauty to Moon Studio artists. Programmers have different roles in game making. For example, some of them are in the UI design section, some are in the construction of game physics, and others are in the AI sector. It is considered the most lucrative gaming sector and is a good choice to enter the industry. The last part is sound engineering, in which you are tasked with producing different sound effects in the game and programming them, as well as managing the voices of actors and music. Now that you have chosen the section you want or preferred to build games independently, it is time to work as a game maker. Many game makers fear this sector, but you should know that it is not impossible to enter the labor market in any discipline if there is expertise. If you have followed all the steps correctly and have improved your ability to build the game by working on independent projects, especially searching the internet, you will be able to earn money.